All right, looks like we need to get this thing started. It's been a while, so it's kind of fun to jump back in here. I still play a lot. I've just had a lot going on in life where I haven't been able to stream as much, so should be fun this evening. Welcome, Beast. I know I've been seeing you around on the server and haven't officially chatted or met you, so thankful to have you around. For those of you that will be joining tonight or watching this later, throughout the evening, I'm going to do a decent amount of playing with my HD version of my pack on the Silentwisperer Derptopia site, and if we happen to get some of our regular players, I may have them take us through their bases or things like that, or special builds or whatever that they might be interested in. Just kind of curious to see what it might look like with the HD textures. We may switch over to the RTX from time to time, and so that may mean that I'm logging in and out of the server, but that will allow us to switch packs. But anyway, hope everybody's having a good evening, and it should be a good time. So I'm going to jump in here right now. Mr. Mad Lad. My goodness, apologies. You're like one of the masters when it comes to doing all this. In fact, I need to talk to you because there's some RTX things that are happening. So maybe after stream or on Discord or something like that, we can chat. But I'd be interested in having you take my pack and check it out. I'm getting that green bar underwater, as well as just some of the things that happen across darker areas. I'm just curious to see if that's normal across all packs, or if it's just so are you guys not getting any audio? No audio at all? Okay, so Mad Lad, you can hear me? Sorry, Beast was checking to see if there was audio. You may want to check your settings inside the stream and make sure that your audio is up on the Twitch, Beast, because it sounds like Mad Lad. Is that confirming that you can hear me, my friend? And if so, okay, good. So Beast, you should be able to hear. I usually use a custom soundtrack plus talking. But anyway, Mad Lad, as I was saying, what I would enjoy is just getting some of your input, because you have some amazing, just some amazing insights and wisdom and things like that on the RTX server and packs. And so I'd love to get your input. Just remind me and I'll send over the latest version of it. I'm actually going to start adding some new textures and some new things to it as well. I've still got to complete it. But anyway, should be fun tonight. You guys will get to see a little bit. I actually disabled some of the server packs because they mess with my HD pack, but you'll still be able to see the heads, the mob heads and things like that. But where I logged out last inside of here, we'll just do some tours, especially for those of you that have watched from time to time. And welcome. So do you say it Cavell or Cavelli, I guess? Trying to read across this other screen. Welcome to the stream. And Mad Lad's saying that he's been able to emit light recently. May help a lot with low surface area light sources, glow lichen. And okay, nice. Because as you can see right now in my HD pack, basically what I do when I'm doing my designing, I'm creating mainly for an RTX world and for those kind of things, but I take my RTX textures and I go back through a special process in Photoshop and I combine the RTX textures and depth mats and all of that to make my HD textures. So I get some similar responses, but you can see how well it lights up in the normal gameplay. And in RTX, this place is almost black, pitch black, and it has some flickering issues. So, but we may switch over and check that out here in a little bit. But I haven't really featured the HD version of the pack, so I wanted to do that tonight. And this area that you're seeing here is my personal base. I do have a team on the server that I play with. And by the way, if the music gets too loud, speak up, let me know. Sometimes I can't tell what you guys are always hearing. I try to look at the meters, but we'll make sure we'll be as careful as we can. But I decided this time on the server. Oh, you sung. Long time. Yes, sir. Nice to have you too, my friend. I guess you've probably just celebrating being graduated and going on with life. So congrats on that. Okay, so you're saying that there's a different major change, Mad Lad, pitch black. Okay, there is some issues there. It may just be some settings that I'm putting inside of my pack. It may be some programming that I've done, because I've just tried to literally be old school texture design and learning how Minecraft functions with their setup. But yeah, congrats, you sung. Hope you're enjoying college and that life. It sure can be a neat thing. But what I decided this season in Derptopia was being able to go very low. You can see I'm at level 5 here. I wanted to be as close to the bottom as I could get to this generation, so that once we started 1.18, I would already be in process to be able to start digging down and go even deeper underneath us. Plus, I like to be able to have all of my tree farms and my basic farms and all this kind of stuff down low. It helps me control mobs. It doesn't matter whether it's day or night, just all of that. So that's just a little trick I've learned, and I wanted this to look a little bit like a bunker. So as you can see, I've spent a lot of time gathering resources, digging it out, having fun with that. But so anyway, here's my my small little bee farm area. And of course we have mob heads, Foxy No Tails mob heads add-on on the server, so that's a lot of fun. That's an angry bee. Obviously to get them, I'm not even sure if you can get a normal bee head without, there might be a way to do it. But this will give you an idea of how I've settled on getting our bees' nests and flowers and things like that in the designs. And a funny thing that's happened in here, these 4 bees that sit along these corners, something about the mechanics causes them to literally just live there nonstop. So whether it's night or day or whatever, I've always got some bees floating in here, which is kind of fun. But I wanted something that just kind of, you know, looked a little bit more functional and useful. And as you can see, I've even got the honey texture. And when we switch back on either today's stream or on a different one, we'll come through and show you the RTX and how it shines and all of that. But anyway, thank you, Mad Lad. I appreciate that. And yes, you sung, this is Season 2. So the other thing that this affords me in being down low is I have multiple areas of slime chunks. So I'm able to come through and be able to use these areas. So I just block out the zone, and as you can see where I've got the slime block, you can see through, and there's multiple of those down here. So that's kind of fun. I did use a little bit of chunk base to help me figure out a location that I wanted, and I secured a very large mountain range for my builds this season. And so anyway, I'll show you this lower area, and then we'll go upstairs. We may tour the server a little bit, just have some fun tonight. We'll be here for a while. We'll go down this in a minute. I built a tunnel for a villager breeder, and while I was clearing out the area down here, I was just patient enough, rather than transport villagers all the way down, and waited for some there's a little bit of server lag there, but waited for some zombie villagers and then cured them and was able to make my own breeder down here. But this is my just as simple as you can get flower farm. I always use Fortune 3 on flowers so that I can get more and get my dyes and all of that. But as you can see, I've made everything look like a bunker. This in RTX is really amazing through this area. And all of this, all of my passageways are lower slabs, so that kind of helps with spawning. And obviously once 118 comes out, the light spawning is going to be really nice, so I might even drop these torches. Right now I keep them in here because it kind of helps with the tunnel, especially in RTX. But let's run around here, and of course you get the orange glow in the RTX lighting when that comes down. But like I said, I've got a team that I play with, and we've got a team base area, and we'll run over there. I did install a few iron golems to help me down here for the occasional mob that does show up. But back here, put together a dark tree farm area. And you can see I did some harvesting earlier this week because I'm working on an exterior wall around my area. And then here's my in-stone room for being able to make purpur, and then also to get more end rods. So, yeah. So let's see here. By the way, for those of you that are new to my packs and things, I have stuff that starts at 64 resolution. What you're seeing here is 512. I play on a RTX 3090 system. They're 64, 128, 256, and 512 resolutions. And then obviously the RTX is a solid 512. And so over here, I put in my moss and azalea farm. Again, very rudimentary. I didn't do any of the crazy big farms. With playing on a big server, you don't have to, because you got enough other people that will, that you can actually, you know, barter and trade and then purchase from the shops and all of that. And I went a little gutsy this year and haven't done a shop. I've tried to just grind out a lot of stuff and then work on getting a lot of diamonds. And then that way I could just purchase as much of the things that I needed that way. But this is where I do my 4-spot trees. I've got jungle and spruce, or interchange those, and then I put this here specifically because when I was digging out the area, I found a underground ravine up there, so it was easy to clear out. And I haven't done any more developing of the structure up above, just this level. But Yasung is saying, did we try out the new generation experimental mode? I have, and in fact, I'm looking at streaming on a brand new world with a new seed, just to show off some of that, because it's a lot of fun. But here I've got my nether farm, so that I can get those woods and shroom lights and all this kind of stuff. So I like to have things available to me, even though I buy stuff when I can. But if I just in a grindy mood, it's kind of nice, as many of you might know. But back here, this was kind of cool. I've actually got a amethyst geode, and way off in the distance there's a double geode, and I've got my spider farm, but it's way out there, so I don't know that we'll necessarily head out that way because everybody's seen those a lot. But I was fortunate enough to find a spider spawner while mining, and that gives me most of my string that I need. But anyway, I'll show you my villager breeder hall, because it's a lot of fun. And this actually goes all the way up to the top, and that's how I get in and out from up above, which makes it real nice. But I did a nice mining tunnel here with a simple Silentwisperer breeder in the very back here. And at some point we need to come back through here in RTX and show you how that looks here, because it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying playing with all the lighting and all that. But as you can see, I've got a few guys sitting here ready. I bred them up the other day. I may end up putting together a basic iron farm. I'm not sure. So far I've been able to mine out enough that it hasn't been too bad. But as you can see, this is far enough away that some of the patina has not happened on these blocks, and it just starts through that. So in my RTX, it's actually very metallic and reflective and makes it pretty fun. So yeah, Yasung, on the new generation, on the experimental mode, it's actually rather impressive, and the fact that even at 512 resolution, the game still loads pretty well. I've just been really pleased with what they're doing and how they're expanding it. But you can see I've got this railway because I put together one of my own villager trading halls specifically for stonemasons, because I like to use a lot of the different cool stones. So you'll see what I did back here. And I've got Silentwisperer's version of that coupled with the curing station here, so that I can get the trades down easy. But I haven't really built this place out yet. I just got it up functional enough and looking nice enough that I've got at least one of each of the different blocks of stonemasons. A whole lot. I kept rolling, and in fact, for those of you that may not know, a wonderful resource to use right there, all trades visible, really helps when you're rolling rolling villagers. It lets you see what their whole trade tree will be, even though it's not unlocked. It's not cheating or any of that. It just allows you to see what they're going to unload all the way down, so that when you're rolling them, you can get what you want. But anyway, if you haven't yet, go find that, pick it up. It really helps when you're rolling villagers. But I like to use a lot of quartz and things like that. And then I just put in a few of these bookshelf and glass and lantern trades and a couple of the other basics. But a really cool texture that I just finished a few weeks ago that's not in the packs that are downloadable yet, but will be here soon, is the Cartography Table. So even in normal HD, I was real proud of how that was able to come out. In RTX, it's magical, as you can imagine. But anyway, I am going to be starting to work on the loom and finishing out some of these others that aren't complete yet. So anyway, let's go running around here. Well, I hope everybody's week is going well. People, when I'm out and about, will ask me, you know, so how are you doing? And my typical answer these days is, well, I'm learning how to master me in the midst of all this world climate. I may be having some rough things, business and otherwise, but who isn't? You know, so I dare not complain. But I'm learning how to manage me as best as I can. So I did take about a 3 or 4 day at several hours each period to mine out this drop, as well as develop it to make it a nice finished bunker style. And nobody's sleeping, so I don't want any of my place blown up. We still have creeper damage on this server, so I'm not much of a cussing person, but that will get me right there every time. I don't know why that just totally throws me off. But yeah, so this was my master storage that I built. And you can see we're at level 80, and then we've got mountains up above, and so that's why I chose this location. So I've got all my master storage and all the pieces there. It's funny, my parrot that I was able to bring over here, he constantly does creeper and other sounds, other mob sounds, because I guess he must have been around enough of those prior to me grabbing him. So here's my concrete and ore, harvesting tunnel. Do all my ores right here. It makes it quick and easy. And then all my concrete powder there to turn it into concrete. Sure helps. Built a basalt generator here. We've got our lava cauldrons. And then before they patched it, I actually did a lot of work using these. As you can see, I haven't harvested them again, even though this is patched and doesn't work anymore. I was able to get a lot of the potions needed. And of course, now that we've been playing for enough months, it's not as desperate to need a lot of that. But I know Mad Lad had pointed out, because he spends a lot of time in RTX, RTX still has broken candles, but once it gets it, here's the texture that I'm running with, sir, and it looks really good in PBR. It's just obviously RTX isn't allowing it, but in the HD I've been able to finish it out and really give a nice waxy burning look. I've been really proud of it. But anyway, so this is my mining area and storage. And then this is my actual, well, I'm not going to go in this door because I don't want to lose my buddy here. I've got a pigman that hangs out and guards my area there, but if I let him through this wall, he'll get through, so we'll go the other side. But on the other side of that door is my original starting point of the whole game. But I'm working on a castle up here, and it's got a lot more to do. But a YouTuber called by the name of Stevler, S-T-E-V-L-E-R, has some great builds, and so I'm rebuilding his castle here piece by piece, and getting it finished out. That's going to be the old relic monument that exists up on top of this mountain. And then in the distance there, I've started my mansion. Okay, so you sung, sorry, I'm reading chat at the same time. You said when I say mining, I get GPU mining nightmares. Why do you say that? What causes that? While he's responding, this is literally where I started, was right here in this little field. So I had some crops, I've got my bamboo, and I still harvest the bamboo to make for fuel and things like that. But you can see I've got, I had protected my area with a lot of berries because there was a lot of spawning creatures, but that's going to be my mansion back there. I actually downloaded a real-life mansion home plan, and I'm just piece by piece building that out, and it's 3 stories and a lot of fun. But I'm a huge Stargate sci-fi fan, so I like to, at least in my server builds, have at least one of these up somewhere, and it's about as close as I've been able to come up with on a Stargate version and style. But I've been planting more of the four plant spruce trees just to make it look nice. I really haven't developed the area too much. I've spent a lot of time mining and gathering resources so that I'm not held up. But as you can see, this area just really was a neat find on the server. So I'm trying to think what else we might want to show here. Obviously I've got my snow cauldrons. Oh, I know, I've got my bees over here. This was a neat piece that I stumbled into. I mainly wanted the mountain, especially with it being gravel, because I like to have a lot of concrete. And I'll buy it, but I also like to make it myself once I get into late game. But I was over here exploring early on, and I was like, oh my goodness, this little cutout, I've done nothing to it except for expand the azalea trees, and there was one bee's nest down here, and I've expanded it and expanded it. And many of the real bee's nests that I have came from oak tree farming. But you'll see here, this was just a lovely spot, so I've been expanding it out somewhat. And there's my beehive texture. I figured you guys will like that a lot, and obviously the blocks. But anyway, this was just really cool. I have done 0 terraforming. All I've done is just add the azalea trees and expand the flowers a little bit. So this was just a really cool generated area that exists back here. So Yusung typed, when I went to Best Buy to camp for the 3090, every one of the people there were either miners or scalpers. Yeah, again, the reason I was able to come up with a 3090 was I signed up early on, early with EVGA, and I've been using their products for a long time. And once they released theirs, I literally got a call and an email, and I had a 30-minute window to go purchase it right then, or it was gone, and I was able to pick it up. So I was just really fortunate. I know a lot of people haven't been. But this right here is my inner wall that I've got for my area, and as you can see, I'm still working on it. It's a lot of brick and terracotta and then some spruce edging. And I may revise where it all sits, but that's my inner wall. And then my outer wall, you can see it right back there in the distance, right where the crosshair is. I've just started that this last week, and I've been expanding it as far as I can go around to cover the area. My son, his call name is Christian, plays from time to time, so we built an area that we share. So I'll show you that. And so as you can see, I'm running through here and using brick and dark oak and spruce, stripped birchwood, along with smooth sandstone to give it just a really fun look and a really fun pattern there. Let's see here. On the inside, I've added ladders. On the outside, obviously, walls are to keep people out, except for where the gate areas will be, and that's where I'll end up putting that in here. It's adding a nice gate area. And so let's zip around here, and you can kind of see what I'm doing with this. I literally just came up with the design because I wanted something that was 5 tall, but I didn't want it super wide, so I'm making the top wide with posts and then lighting the areas where I can. And so this will stretch. As you can see, there's where my base is at up there. This will stretch around, and I'll be adding little farm areas and you know, new villager type homes and small homes and starter looking homes and all that kind of fun stuff. But for those of you that also follow Fiasco on our server, his base is literally right next door, and it's a privilege to have him close. He's a neat builder, excellent streamer. And so anyway, the other night he was teasing because I was putting up this wall, and I'll show you. His wall is not too far away over here. And so he's like, we're going to have to end up having siege wars, aren't we? And so it was a little humorous. But yeah, he obviously spends a lot more time because he's got a massive wall. And then in the background over there, some really cool builds. So anyway, gradually running this around this area. As I build, I'm allowing some of the growth that's naturally there. I'm just building through it so that it will look like it's been there for a while and weathered and all that. But you can see now with the trees up there, that's why I've been adding them. It's really making for a neat look. Let's grab something to eat real quick. And let's see here. So you sold your 3080. But you did get a 3090 though. Very nice. Congrats, my friend. That's huge. I didn't realize you ended up finding one. So we'll go up here and we'll run through the portal. And tell me this, for those of you in here, as I go around, would you guys enjoy seeing some of the creator builds in the HD pack while I've still got it on, like the stuff that the server creators did on the main base, and then obviously the shops that the creators on this have done? Or would you prefer to see it in RTX or both if we have time tonight as I'm running around here? I'd be happy to take votes from everybody. Both? Okay. Well, since I've got this on, does that sound good to everybody? We'll go do that. I know it might make it redundant, but I could go over there and we could do some tour, and then I can flip packs and stay there and then switch that. So we'll do that. I'm gonna flip this way so that I'm facing properly in the nether when I get down there. So what I've found is the nether ends up super, super dark in RTX. So I've been very thankful to have created an HD pack, because as you can see, I can still see in here. When it's in RTX, it looks amazing, but it's very, very scary because it's very, very black and just lightly glowing in places. It's neat. I love the effect. But so here I built the other side of the Stargate, added in black concrete to give us a nice expanse underneath it. And then, as you can see, before the bedrock breaking was patched, I shouldn't say all of us that were playing at the time went up and created holes above. So we've actually got markers where we can fly around above the nether roof in this. Not sure if we're going to have the ability to do that again in the future, or if that was just a really cool thing. But so you can literally, on the other side of my portal here, you can climb up and then go up above the nether roof and get to other places. I'm not going to do that just so you can see the exploring, but and yes, Mad Lad, I agree with you. Things that aren't intended in the game, even though they might be nice, I am glad when they do patch them, just because it keeps everything fair for everybody. And thank you for the kind words on the portal. Maybe we'll return back through here in RTX so you guys can see the difference and run through. But I had this idea to have a really cool deal here, because it feels creepy, especially in RTX. It really does. But then you also will drop down and you can walk on the chain as you come through here and not get injured or hurt or anything, but it just messes with your mind. So I thought this was kind of fun. So you were talking about the bug with everything being way too dark. Oh, and you think it's fully fixed. I had RTX on this week. I'll have you see. Wow, someone has done some amazing. I hadn't even been by here in a while. Wow, I'm just going to look at this real quick before we head down to the main spawn area. This is really cool. I need to find out who's doing this. This is really awesome. Nice job. Well, Yasung, when we come back through the nether in RTX, since you like the inky blackness, you'll see how that works. It's crazy in RTX. This is incredible. Someone's been doing some time. I'm loving this. This is the fun thing about being a part of a server. And by the way, if you're looking for a server to play on, Silentwisperer server is a really good group of people, great mods, not game mods, but moderators that help take care of stuff. We'll definitely come back through here in RTX. I think you guys will like this. So a fix for the light source is not emitting enough light. Okay, so you'll be able to see when we get there, Mad Lad, and you can tell me whether you think it's accurate in RTX or not, or if maybe I'm doing something. Maybe I'm not allowing enough light out of my light sources. So that may be my fault. So Yasung says, I'm thinking about donating my current 4K panel to my church and getting myself 4K OLED. Man, if you can do that, OLED is just incredible, especially on a larger screen. But anyway, we're going to run down to our and by the way, this looks amazing in RTX too. Papa Fresh is a crazy awesome builder, crazy great guy too. But this just looks amazing when we come back through here. But a lot of times when I'm exploring the nether, I'll stay in HD just because it's safer. But when I want to see the builds and I'm really looking for that effect, and by the way, for those of you that love HD patterns and looks, you can see I went through and actually have sampled real fire in order to create the fires, and the blue fire does the same thing. Yeah, if you're able to do 120 hertz, that's even crazy good. That's neat, man. So we're going to jump through here and we'll do the shopping district. Maybe we'll wait and just do it in RTX. but I thought you might enjoy, especially for those of you that are looking, that don't have RTX, you might want to see our main spawn area when you sign up and you join the server in HD standard textures first, just because I know a lot of people that support me are actually using the HD because it's so hard to get some of the RTX cards. But anyway, this will show you a lot of the different textures. By the way, I just added my there it is, lodestone texture this last week. Okay, I haven't been able to see it in game yet. I'm really happy with that. Very cool. So as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit better, and over time I may update other textures with some of this 3D look, even in standard. That looks loaded. Nice. And I'm gradually learning how to get these little extra effects on blocks. It takes some time, obviously, a lot of trial and error. But as we run around here, this was actually originally a mushroom island, so what's not island but a area. And so what's cool is mobs don't generally spawn in here, so we can let it stay night unless somebody needs to sleep on their own. Yeah, I'm really liking that lodestone. I feel good about that. 3D in RTX is incredible with it too, and I can't remember, I think I've got that in the RTX on my pack testing right now, so we'll see when we come back through there. But yeah, when you spawn into the game, when you join this server, you actually come into this area, which is just a really cool build. That there is my polished basalt, and has a gold trim to it, and then diamond block. If you join, do not take the diamond block. There's penalties for that. That's literally just to show our spawn point. But we've got some neat things like a lot of public mining areas and places to get stuff, and that's all listed on the seed there. There's usually, and we keep it pretty stocked, as you can see. The players that are here do the best to keep this together for new players, so that they, when they start, they get some basic things, and you can find some basic tools and stuff like that when you start the game. Pretty good community. While we're in here, I'm going to check my mailbox. I'm not expecting anything, but I don't come over here much, so I'll check it just to see. Oh, what is this? A block of diamond? Wow. Wow, someone was being crazy generous. Whoever you are, thank you, thank you. So this is a really cool mailbox area that the mods put together for us. Everything at the server spawn is literally for our use, but not to take down. It's just for using in the area. But they did some really creative building, which has been a lot of fun to see. So as you can see, at this point in the history of my pack, most of the textures that you're using in the game, I've got ready for functionality. There's still probably 15% of the basic blocks that are still not done, and then I'll start working on mobs and things like that at that point. The frustrating part is the things in your hand, like for instance, you can see my totem. I still can't go above 64 with that, because they've got that glitch where things that are floating at higher resolutions just lag out the game. So they're very aware of it, the devs are, and they're working on it, but it's just not been something patched or fixed just yet. So I design all of those textures in full HD, but they're just not anything that's in your inventory or in your hands or dropped on the ground. I've got carried textures for those that are at 64 resolution, just so that it doesn't glitch out the game. But I do have a full lunar moon system that changes with the seasons and everything, so you'll probably enjoy that when you are at nighttime. Now, I haven't done anything with this, but when we went live, as you can see in June, I did claim one of the bedrooms, and there's plenty of bedrooms for all of our players to have a master deal here. And some of you, now that I see it, may not be aware that I've got library quality frames and picture frames. So that way you can really spruce up your builds. That's actual photo frames and then actual art pieces that are public domain and things like that. So you'll see, depending on the size and all that, there's various different pieces that just really elevate your gameplay. So let's see here. Let's keep exploring their area. And then when we head back through, I'll log out and log back in with the RTX. And then I thought it might be fun to go over to our team area where J Spirit Wolf, Kula, Rooster Bob, and let's see who, if any of them are on right now. Wolf is actually on, so he might be doing some work. He's actually got his stuff close over there. We've got a couple of others, but have been doing all of the major work on that area. I've done a couple of builds, but I've been so focused on what I've been developing in my area. A couple of them, they made it their home, but we've been building a small city with villagers and all kinds of crazy stuff. But what I'm showing you here is maybe a third of the spawn area on this server. It's just really, really cool. And it also gives you some inspiration for what you might want to do yourself on the server as far as builds and all that kind of stuff. But you'll see these same textures. That should be closed. That should be closed. These same textures are what I put in the RTX. It's just got the RTX PBR effect. So if you are playing with this, with my packs, when you switch between them, you're going to get a similar look and a similar feel, which should make it nice. That way, when you need to be in RTX and you enjoy it, or when you need to be in the other, then it's going to have that same effect and same feel. So Beast, yeah, I'm part of the village people is what we call ourselves, simply because we found a village and we started making a lot of villagers, and it was a funny joke and we kept it. So anyway, so yeah, let's log out and I will switch packs, especially at nighttime, so you can see some of this stuff real quick, because that's actually a lot of fun. And on both of my packs, I have the home screen that allows you to see what pack you're in. So that will also help you every time that you're switching. So right here it will say RTX or HD, and then that way it makes it easy for you to always know which pack you have on before you log in or go into a server or your own places. So we'll join back in. Nope, I don't want those. Those textures override some of mine, so I don't have them in there. But there you go. Same textures, same everything, but now with the glorious RTX effects. So I try not to have things too terribly shiny in places, but stuff like vines and things like that actually have somewhat of a natural reflection to them, have a more of a wet look, so I'll mess with that when I can. Hey Beast, thanks for the follow, my friend. As you can see, the RTX effects are just so much fun, and I've really had a lot of good time playing with that and learning how to make the patterns work and cause the shading and just all of that. So Yusung, you're probably going to love this part because, as you can see, it does make it decently dark throughout, and it makes it very much more like actual nighttime, which is a lot of fun. So one of the things that's really cool when you're working with those types of textures is being able to add some of the depth even into the basic of the texture and create the shadows along the edges and all that. And so I've really enjoyed... thanks, Mad. Yeah, I think it just feels so cool, doesn't it? It really just adds that little bit of a realism to it. The only thing about where it's got less light is you're not always sure where you're standing, and so that always gets fun. But I had a time and a half figuring out how to do actual campfires, not the fire itself, but the campfire texture and make it fit right and everything. But I've been real pleased with it now. It seems to do a nice glow, as well as the wood pattern. So Mad Lad's commenting there. Over the course of the past few days, I've been extensively using the leaked developer-only version of the game to compare that the developers have. Reflections and shadows are way too blurry, and the ambient occlusion is virtually non-existent, is because of major issues. Ah, denoiser. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. But one of the things that I have noticed that I do like right here, you can see the shimmer effect across certain blocks. I hope that they don't get rid of that, because that's just kind of a neat effect that feels like real life. Some of it gets a little too sparkly in places, but I think it's fun. And by the way, we've got 10 or 11 of us on the server at the moment, so you may see what just happened there where the sun may glitch a little bit. It just creates a little bit of lag, nothing to worry about. But Mad, that does make sense. Makes a lot of sense. And that helps me understand some of the limitation there too. And I haven't, again, worked on mobs yet, so that's still... But what's neat is when you've got regular textures next to 3D textures, it actually kind of blends in, kind of fun. So it's still doable. But I think, for those of you that are playing, I finally just switched out gravel. Got a new gravel here that has a little bit more of a depth to it and actually gets a little bit of a reflection. And then I chose on my iron bars and things like that to go with a little bit darker. It has a silver in it, but it's more like real iron bars in real life. So let's see here. And you'll see coarse dirt actually has some mounds of rocks and things like that in it, just to give you that extra realism. Papa Fresh, my goodness, I didn't even see you drop in. Pleasure to have you. And thank you for the kind words. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. I've been debating updating this texture here, which is the mossy stone brick. I think it worked well. It was one of my earliest textures I did over a year and a half ago in the HD pack. But now that we've got the new moss block and a little bit more changes to that, I've thought about adding a little bit more of a three-dimensional growth that sits on top of the block. So I'd be interested in hearing from you as well as anybody. I'll be reaching out to some of the other supporters and just hear their thoughts. But anyway, this will show you some of the depth that's happening in those things. And there's my podzol, the actual leaves and mud, and just a little bit of a muddy texture to it. Are you excited to have actual mud coming? That was really cool to hear the announcement, wasn't it, this week? So obviously it's going to be a while till that comes out, but will be neat to see. So let's head back over. And We'll explore some of this area in the RTX. Again, if you're looking for only HD textures, I have the HD versions of all of this RTX. But you'll see there's my polished andesite. So it actually does like an actual polished floor with a nice edge to it as well. And then gold blocks, I decided to go ahead and do the cheeky thing and make it a true gold block. And as you can tell, most of mine are staying very vanilla faithful. There's only a few tweaks here and there that I do, but I really have tried to make sure that if you're playing on a server that your builds would look very similar to other players and not wacky because you had a different pack on. Anyway, let's run around here for a bit. Okay, so there you can see the iron bars, what I settled on. See how it has that silver from the original, but yet gives you just that nice glimmer of actual metal. And iron bars traditionally, some of my family's in construction, it's usually going to be that darker metal to it, so that's what I settled on for those. And then obviously added a little bit more of a design texture just to improve it a little bit, yet still feel like it was part of the vanilla design. But I've been pretty proud of the way the plants now, they did something different in how some of the PBR textures, I know it's not true PBR, but it's starting to feel like it function. Like for instance, my stone is really popping now. Used to it did decent, but it's really popping now in certain sunlight. Same thing with the flowers and the feels in them too. So, oh, let's look at that up there. And as I had said, I don't have my Lodestone 3D RTX textures loaded into this pack yet, but I will get that, and we'll showcase that soon. Yeah, Papa, this helps a little bit better understanding of that iron too. I also did the chains to match fairly close. And then for those of you that are hardcore vanilla players, the colors that you see in the blocks and everything, I've literally sampled the colors from the vanilla pack so that it stays very vanilla friendly and representative of that. But didn't the mods do an amazing job at creating an area that just is very expansive and just so cool? So now you can see what I did with that polished, well, it's the basalt, but not the smooth basalt, it's the polished. Sorry, I was getting confused because they've added the new smooth basalt, which I can show you when I go back to our base. But there's the way that diamond texture works when it's in RTX. And I settled on this because it feels like an actual diamond when it shimmers through that when you look at actual diamonds. So that's why I ended up settling on that texture. Oh, nice, Mad. Yeah, I guess you could say that. It does have a little bit of that enchanted feel, doesn't it? So even textures like the shulker, that one's glitching. Wow. This one's okay. Even though it doesn't have RTX depth maps, it still does pretty well. So I'm using the same HD one in the RTX deal, and if I hadn't told you, you might not have noticed, because I know what it's supposed to look like. I can see it. But they're getting better at the pass-through of light like this so that you get real strong light underneath with just minimal coming through the transparency of the other block, which really is making it cool. So yeah, Yasung, now when you come through areas like this, it really gives you that creepy vibe, and especially my RTX webs give you that real cobweb sitting up in there feel. And I did settle on these with a nice metal reflection, but the sides actually have the real gritty metal texture. Can't see it very well in here because the light source is so far away. I agree, Yasung. It really just looks amazing the way the lighting works when it's functioning right. There are still some mechanics that are a little iffy, but I mean, my goodness, what they're doing is so amazing. It's worth putting up with some of that. I really like when you go in and out of different settings, like when you're in a dark area to a light area, and how it literally changes like the way your eyes do. So that glass back there, we'll get over there so we can see how that looks. And for those of you that may not have seen, and of course I just recently fixed this too, I fixed the bookshelves to where now they have dark oak on top to match the actual frame of the bookshelf, so it has a little bit more classy finished look to it on the bookshelf. So I have really appreciated the glassy water feel in RTX. It's just, even though it's still got the prism edges, it just feels so cool. Yeah, so here you can see the campfires without them lit as well. And I tried to make it very, very rustic. In real life, I live in New Mexico. Excuse me. And I've got mountains and things like that not too far away, about an hour to an hour and a half away, depending on which size mountain you want. So there's a lot of camping that happens, and I really wanted it to have that feel, so that you can even see the charcoal sitting inside, and make it a very useful block for your builds too. So the one thing, and Mad, you might be able to help with the understanding of this. One of the things in RTX is that colored glass really doesn't have the type of transparency that I was assuming they would have. And so even when you put it at almost zero with the transparency, it still doesn't allow a ton of light through. It's decent, but that may be on purpose, and it may just be part of the getting used to it. But it's been a unique thing to adjust to on certain things, so I know how to develop it and yet still keep the rich color. And I've just started working on adding the crimson and warped doors and some of the other little pieces that weren't finished just yet. So that'll be coming here soon. So even at HD resolutions, the TGA image might do better. So it might be worth trying. Got us a new player that has joined. Looks like he's exploring the main area. Ooh, this was another new update for those of you that have been following and even playing with the pack. I did a major shift in the pathway. So now it actually, the grassy path literally is grassy and a path. So I figured you guys would really like that, so that it blends better with the terrain. So now when you see it going from grass to that, it feels a little bit more natural with the effect there. So yeah, Matt, I guess I'll have to try that with the TGA and see what that might do. They used so much mossy cobblestone, but I love the way it looks when it's piled in like this, especially at the later or early times of day. Okay, well, let's run back through the portal, and then of course these kind of things before we do. Isn't it just so cool when you get that sunlight that just patterns through? And then this was recent too, that I just started seeing. It didn't have it in the previous releases, and I wasn't having this issue, but they did some sort of programming change into how it renders, so now you get just a little bit of a pattern above it. So it may be in my texture group and it just didn't show up before because of the way the game was rendering it, and now it's actually, I may have an edge or something that's poking through, but I'm gonna have to research to fix that. So Texture Atlas, it's interesting. So they must have improved the rendering, and my Texture Atlas has probably just got a pixel or two that's off in there. Before it didn't do that at all. So as they improve the game, obviously it causes you to find some of the things that you might have glitched. There must be some entities laying on the ground or something as we're getting some frame drops there. Yeah, you were asking about playing the new experimental mode. The only thing that you'll see in it that I've been noticing is some strong frame drops right when you load an area, just because it's so much more information. But after it's loaded, it really does well. I don't spend enough time over here. I've got to try to remember where there's the portal. Okay, so we'll jump back through the Nether, and we'll go look at a couple of those builds, and then we'll go over to the team base area. Yeah, the only frame drops I get, and again, I'm playing on an HD pack, so it really screws with things. Oh, I forgot that this spawns you out down here in our old deal. But there's so many textures to load, it just takes it a minute. But once it does, it's usually pretty solid. So now you can see what this is doing in the Nether, which is just an insane effect in RTX. So if I didn't know where I was going, it would be very worrisome that I might be falling through the floor. But once you get into areas where it has the lighting, then it does real well. So here, one method that might fix the pixel offset is creating a texture list file in your resource pack. And okay, I'll definitely check that out. By the way, we haven't seen this yet in the game, but this is my iron block. I tried to mirror the vanilla look, but yet give it that nice polished versus brushed iron finish to it. But one of the things I do like is when you have torch lit up area in the Nether, how just gorgeous this looks. So I haven't been following who's popped in and out. If Papa, if you're still here, I thought I might show you your tunnel here. That's what my ore blocks look like, and I've actually got ore veins in them that glisten and reflect. But he said he just did a really neat design in this tunnel. Yeah, Yusung, I agree. I did push the reds even more on mine. I sampled the original, but I wanted it to have just a little bit more intensity. So you might even notice the netherrack even more with my pack. So that keeps going all the way down that way. We'll come back, but I wanted you to be able to see his effects. And as you can see, I've been real proud of the ice that we've been able to come up with. Just has that nice cold, slick feel to it. But we'll run down here and see those other tunnel builds that we were talking about. See, like there with the blue torches, lanterns, excuse me. And then in his build, let's see here. Yeah, this is Bad Karma. He did a lot of shiny blocks down here. So there's copper, then there's dark prismarine. And I had always been a little frustrated in the vanilla blocks with prismarine and dark prismarine. Because they weren't as functional. So what I did is I took the patterns and the colors, but now I've made it more like actual floor blocks that you can use in your builds, walls, you know, ceilings, whatever, just so that it has that much more functionality to it. And then I think you're gonna really like my emerald blocks because they have a mirrored texture to them as well. So it just adds that extra. And I think, let's see here, this looks like, yeah, this is the polished deep slate. So same thing, worked on making it give it a feel that has a little bit more of a usable block in classier builds. Has a little bit of reflection, but not the same as the other. So when you see the light travel here, see it just kind of glow on the floor, but then when it gets on these, they actually have a nice glow and mirror like a true floor does. So let's run down this build that we saw just a minute ago. So now you can see how ominous this looks in RTX. So on my deep slate, one thing that I did to improve the block is the top of it, bottom of it actually has a slab of slate. So I did that on purpose just to give it that little extra use to it as well. I want to see his portal area because that looked pretty awesome. I say his, it might be one of the ladies. We've got a few playing on the server with us. Boy, that looks just awesome in here, doesn't it? By the way, the lichen that I'm using is actual photo of true lichen in real life, and then I added my own pattern to create the glow around it just to give it that extra feel, but I wanted it to be like actual lichen growth. Boy, it makes this area feel awesome, doesn't it? I've got to find out whose build this is. They've done a really good job, put in a ton of work too. So let's run, we'll go over to the team base area. These guys have done some amazing work as well. So you would actually take the transparent part. By the way, we'll come back and we'll see this in a minute, but this is my area here, and you can see that what that effect does in RTX is it's just fun. But we'll come back through there when we're done. But so actually, you can make it emit more light using the transparent parts of it being emissive as well. Okay. Huh. So does that make it more like just a glow? Or a... see, this is where it gets fun in the nether, and this is why I usually switch to an HD pack. Because if you're just blindly going through the nether like this, I know what this tunnel does, but if you didn't, this would be really creepy scary. Now, some of you might really enjoy that. But now you can see what happens when you light it up. All of a sudden now you've got this whole build here that this person's done. And then it goes away. It's crazy. Let me see here. I've got... I was going to mention one of our other players on our team. Let's see here, because we've got 7 of us in there total. Mastrius has probably been the most busy of all of us, followed up by on the base. Kula is probably the most active player on the server from our group, and then we've got Spirit Wolf and Rooster, myself. And then my son plays every now and then, but he's building his own, he's young and building some of his own business things and stuff like that. So anyway, now this effect right here, I just am in love with. So I guess the trade-off of having the darkness and the light is worth it when you do finally get things mined out. So let's see here. Mad, you had said, oh, thanks for the kind compliment there, but block itself doesn't appear any different, but the light emitted from it tends to travel much further. Interesting. I'll have to experiment with that. Okay. So you changed your case, so did you get rid of the white completely? Because that's the last I knew, where you were doing everything in complete white. While he's answering, I'm going to show you something that's really, really cool here. Mastrius spent a lot of time on this, but built an end tower setup that goes from the ground floor all the way up through the top. Used a lot of black concrete and then harvested a lot of the other things, but that's actually open up there. Plus you can see here, because of the lighting and everything, it causes the glowing to do some amazing things. But he built an end area in the nether for our team base spot, and it's just incredible. So I'm going to squat down so I don't fall off these. But as you can see, it just has a really, really cool look. We're not going to stay here too long because don't need a ghast spawning and blowing up anything in here, but I did do something with the growth from the end as well. As you can see, I put a little bit of a shine to it and a little bit of organic, otherworldly feel. So I think you guys will like that a lot. Anyway, this will take us into our area. Hey, Matt, have a great night. Really appreciate you hanging out. Always a pleasure, and your wisdom and advice in the game and the textures and all that is just immense. You've really helped me, and I appreciate the friendship. Have a good night. So, we drop in here, and I did finally do this, by the way, on my full-grown amethyst. It actually glows now, so that's kind of fun. I'm going to run around. This build here is a large furnace array on the back side. This right here, he built an amethyst cluster for our portal, which was a neat idea. He actually rebuilt it, added it here, which is kind of a neat touch. Okay, so let's run out, and you're going to see some really impressive building that's been happening. I should just start from the outer gate and come back across. Okay, now see those frame drops like that? There's still some items that I'm finding, and Mastrius has them either in a item frame, most likely, or something similar. Now when I stop looking there, see the frames go back to normal? But there's still some items in the game that I'm having to find and change that carried texture so it doesn't cause frame rate drops, because I was trying to do full resolution on things. So in these areas you may see that, and RTX still has broken banners, as you can see. But anyway, I believe Rooster's put in most of the work back up over here, and as you can see here, this was this build as well as the main gates. Love these giant gates, just a really neat touch. So I'll come out and show you what the walk-up looks like. So his ideas and things have just been really neat, and our whole city here, our goal was to use all the new deep slate variants coupled with stone and things like that in order, and you can see he literally incorporated all of that. So it goes from cobbled deep slate to deep slate bricks to regular bricks and mossy and carved. Just a really neat effect. And he's got this running pretty solid around the edge here so far. So we'll go back inside, but just wanted to brag about his work there for a bit. So again, anytime that we end up over by that area, you'll see some frame drops. There's nothing wrong with the game. It's just some of those details, some of those items cause it to drop. And then also RTX is not rendering skeleton horses right now. So that's always been kind of a fun thing. So we literally get kind of like evil skeleton horses right now. You can see Rooster has a really good eye for detail and design work. So this is a work in progress, obviously, but still impressive nonetheless. And I did opt, you may have noticed when we've been going through doors, I did opt for a proper door look. Even though I've got the pattern matching the game pattern, I did go ahead and add, you know, the frame area and the handles and hinges and things like that to all my doors. Let me see what time it is. So 5:40, so that means about time to sleep. Let's see if can do that, because I don't want mobs spawning in here and blowing up anything. That's another thing in my pack. my clock, if it hits 5:40, that means it's time to sleep. So it's a real easy thing for you to figure out, because I've set mine to where it runs the pattern of the clocks. So it makes it real easy for you when you're playing. So Mastrius, like I said, he actually put his personal build here too. So this is his actual area, and really, really neat designs. As you can see, the feel of it is just really, really cool. This is his horse stables. And I know it doesn't show up too often, but this is the cake that we ended up running, and was able to actually get it fairly close to the Minecraft vanilla, but yet give it a real cake texture and everything. So for those of you that love having that in the game. So then he has this area back here, which is just a really cool home feeling area. I was really proud of getting the basic deep slate with the depth in it, having the actual slate pattern and all of that, and then that right there is tough. So I've sampled all the colors, but got it to be much more like a tuft style stone in real life. So I figured everybody would like that. And you can see the wool pattern actually has a nice carpet feel to it. So let's run over here. This is a massive, colorful trading area that he's done. It's just really, really fun. Yeah, that's a good question, Yusung. I haven't heard anything about the Apple as to whether or not the MacBooks are going to be able to do the AMD version of RTX or not. That's a good question. But I love the color work that he did inside his design here. It just really pops and feels pretty awesome. Of course, planted tons of different trees and stuff here to give it that realistic feel. We've got a massive trading center there. Each of our builds, part of the design was to have tons of different trading areas that were part of the theme. So like this one back here is a ton of different types of villagers that do basic trades. This one over here has like armor and weapons and things like that. And then this one, I believe, was completely J Spirit Wolf. Really neat high-rise apartment complex feel, but classic at the same time. So I'll get to where we're out of the trees so you can see it. Really cool effect. Brick and granite and deep slate. This one has some trading in it. So we've got like our farmers so that we can do all the trading with them, and some automated activity and things like that. So it's been a neat thing what we've done. It's, as you can tell, many hours of work. But that one, the floors go all the way up, all functional, all usable. Okay, so you sung that they're claiming that it's running about at a RTX 3080. That's neat. Good for them. I hope so. I hope the users will get that. So there's my deep slate tile. Took some doing, but I really am proud of the grout effect on it. I think it just adds that little bit of an extra functionality. But I think, I don't want to lie, but I think Kula did the design for this quarry. And in turn, this is where we have all of our stonemasons, our group stonemasons, all sitting back here doing their thing. He's got them all down this quarry, which was a neat idea. And he's used, we've got the armor stands add-on from Foxy No Tail, so he's used that in order to do these really cool effects. Which just makes it fun. Okay. So then we have our, some of this is developed. Back there is Wolf's area, and he's got some neat builds back there. We've got a few more town hall buildings and a fishing, trading area here. Our library in the back. This here is, I believe this was Mastrius's observatory, I think is what it was. Let's see here. So he did a really neat effect here between black stone and quartz. And with RTX, the way I've got it set, it really does an elegant look here. It looks like we've got a texture that isn't rendering on this for some reason. I'm going to need to find out, because that looks like, let's see, what is that? It's a dropper. Shouldn't be doing that, so we'll have to figure that out. But this just looks amazing with the RTX lighting. So then, as you can see, candles still don't have those textures in there properly yet. So they're just glossy. They don't really do what they're supposed to do just yet, but devs do know about it and are working on it. Here we've got our trading happening along the edges. So how are you able to find, this is Yasung, the new trees in the old generation, the azalea trees? We plant them. So wherever you find them, you then just go back around and plant them yourself. So on this server, we've had a 1500 build limit, and then when that new generation came out, the mods came in and rebuilt the server by deleting anything outside of 1500. And that way it would regenerate in the new setup. So then we can explore and acquire those things out there and then come back. Now Rooster was kind enough to finish this outside. I did the build of the library. I haven't finished the inside. We'll be getting all of the villagers placed in here for trading for books and all that at some point. But he did the walkway and everything outside. But this was the design that I was able to settle on as I was coming through, and I wanted a nice warm library light that would come from the top, and it just has a neat feel. And I did it a little bit more regal. I have finished 2 of the glazed blocks. This is the black. As you can see, I'm going for a really strong, true tiled look, but using the original pattern that Minecraft provides. So I've got this, and I think the yellow was the other one that I've done. But to do each of these, I literally have to render out each square 16 by 16 and match the color and all that. And so it takes several hours just for one of these textures. But I'm really loving the effect that it creates. And then that's polished granite that I have next to it. So eventually we'll have some, classrooms and learning areas and study areas on the upper level. Let me see what time it is, so I don't, okay, I didn't want to spawn in anything. And on the lower level, the way we designed this was to have all of our trades. So we've got little trading spots for each of our librarians. And then once that's done, I'll come back through and finish decorating this like a true finished library with art and designs. And in here will be all the library bookshelves that go up super high and have the cool ladders on them and just all of that. And then we built a storage underneath that follows the whole size of the building as well. So that way we can have as many of the trades built in there, but it's also the beds for all of the villagers. So I don't see a ton of people on the stream. Is anybody on the server still on the stream? Let's see. I'm not sure. I was going to say I didn't mind dropping by one of y'all's places, but we'll do that another night when some of them are able to stay on longer. But this was the first one. This is my other build that I did within the team area. Right now, Yusung's homeless on the server. Yeah, I haven't ever seen you log in when I've been on, but I understand life's different right now. But this one's actually an area I built to eventually get finished out as kind of like a meeting place of the mines. It has an underground meeting room that makes it an official area. And I'll build a master table and things like that inside there. Just got the chiseled blackstone done. Really liking that too. I think it's got a pretty cool effect. Still very usable this way too, but it's still, I made sure to get the pig snout in there. Okay, time to sleep. No mobs. So I will roll back over this direction because Wolf has been a fan for a long time and a really good guy, and always appreciate the work that he does, and I'll show you a few of the things that he's been up to. I was looking around, wasn't even paying attention walking into that. But never fear, I've got strong armor and everything on. Something I did recently too is I've added a little more wet to the lily pads so that they feel a little bit more natural in the water. And I think that's making a huge difference to the effect. As you can see, I still haven't done kelp yet, but I do have our seagrass and our corals. He's got a decent amount of corals down here, so let's see here if we can find some of that, and I'll show you. Of course. Well, at least he gave me a gold bar. I'll take that. Thank you. And there's a couple of them dancing down below. That's funny. I do need to do my double tall grass, seagrass, and then the kelp. That's just a lot of work. So he looks like Wolf must have some items in frames as well. That items in frames thing has just been the bane of high definition creators. There's the rooted dirt and but he did this really neat area over here. It just feels really cool. Hanging roots up there and dropping in a little bit of the smooth basalt. So we may not be able to get too much of a cinematic look because of the frame rate dropping with all the high resolution items, but still looks pretty cool. Wondering if there's a spot where I can pop in here. There is. So he did this really neat area of growth and plants and all of this. I want to be really careful so I don't land on one of those areas and bust up his farm area. As long as I don't face in that direction, who knows what's in there. But as you can see, these makeshift trees, he's actually fairly proficient at making areas look nice, and it's neat. Every time that he adds a new area, I always love go touring it. Fun build there. Little outdoor horse corral. Emerald beacon. And that's something that I added too that's unique. I've got glowing effects on all of the nyliums. Just wanted to add that a little bit to the nether just to give it a little bit more of a lived-in feel. But you can see he's doing a lot of the deep slate, dark builds back here. I actually just finished the texture for the Crimson Trapdoor. I just don't have it in the RTX setup yet, but that'll be in here pretty soon. It should make a pretty cool difference. So as you can see, he's done some really awesome builds back here. He's been building more of like a gothic ghost area. So you'll like this. It's just neat stuff. He's got a decent eye for how this stuff blends together. This one has kind of a Victorian, you know, older age look and feel to it, which is really neat. It looks like they've fixed glass a lot from when I was messing with it before. I know they were adding a little bit of a change to it, but that's nice. So anyway, a lot of fun though. Ah, design based by Blue Bits. Very cool. I thought it looked familiar to me. I follow him too. He's a good YouTuber. Well, I think I will head back over to my spot. I need to start gathering some supplies. Obviously tonight we've just done touring, but I am working on my wall, trying to get that thing finished and developed out. So that might be fun to get, just to get some of those pieces together. What I might do is just fly instead. Really need to find out who dropped that diamond block off. That was a real nice, just friendly gift. One of the creepy things in RTX is that your fog distance runs so far so you don't see as much as when you're just in the HD pack. So as you can see, the ground will just appear as it comes, which is both good and bad. You can get into trouble if you're not careful, but it's a neat thing because it makes exploring a little more adventurous. No, Yusung, I haven't messed with the sun angle stuff. Is it still only with an add-on and things like that? Or how is it working at this point? Yeah, cheat engine. Okay. Yeah, that's how I had known, and so I'm not would it be something that I could do on a server as well, or is it still pretty limited? And frankly, I've been having to work on a lot of other things right now in real life, so I haven't been able to put as much time into the design and the efforts here in learning some of that new stuff. So see, it's actually bringing over the base texture in candles that I've designed, but it's not doing any of the 3D effects and shadowing and all of that. So at least we're getting that right now, but the base texture is always going to be flat, and then of course what is it doing? It's just applying a gloss effect to the candles, but we've at least got them, and so no complaints. They're doing what they can regularly to improve, and it's clearly appreciated. Let me put this stuff away. Now, a weird thing in this, when you're dealing with these textures, is when you drop into water, you know, it's not like vanilla where you can see what you're doing and everything. You actually get into that fog, and so it can mess with you. So let's see here. What did we need to go? I may have enough stuff to actually go do some of the work already. Can't remember what I prepared. Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. I'll go do some wall building is what we'll do. Really appreciate the different ones of you that joined in tonight and have spent some time. Pleasure to have you in here. Yasung, since you're still in here, one thing that you would like is when you do builds like this. So I've got copper down the middle, polished andesite, and then I've got various different blocks around the sides and edges. So when you really work the pieces together, you can really get some neat effects. So I'm just seeing your message there. So you joined a church media group, asked you to use Final Cut, you wanted to die. I've actually had friends that function in Final Cut, and it's a solid platform. I'm just partial to Adobe. I've been with them for well over almost 2 decades, from when they were just like Photoshop and things like that way back. And as it's grown and grown and grown, I've just grown with them, and I love using the Creative Cloud. And so I'm just so entrenched in it. And I've learned how to do even our short and feature films that we work on. But there's some pretty good YouTube classes that you can jump on and pick up how to work the horses are glitching too. Look at that. Wow, that's fun. That's actually a donkey. But there's some really good YouTube teachers out there that you can pick up and start figuring out how to navigate it. I haven't spent much time in it, so I wouldn't be of much help to you. And so I apologize there. Ooh, we're late. we're gonna have all kinds of creepy things in these woods. We already have enough on a regular basis, even in the sun. I may have goofed that up. That's one thing I would have liked on this server, would have been no mob griefing. Because I rarely get upset, but man, a creeper blowing up my build will get me angry beyond belief. Guess I'm still having to learn how to get over that. As you can see, I've laid down a lot of the base of the wall. Going out this way, I've just got to keep continuing extending it now. See here. Okay, so they're going to let you do, they're cool with you going in and out of different types of timelines. Let's see the pattern. Where was I at? Yeah, I see something running over there. I hope it's just a cow. Quick question, what 4K cameras would you recommend, or anything for personal use? What type of budget are we talking? A local church here had about, you know, $3,500 to spend, so I had them get into the Canon 5D Mark IV. Well, that was a wrong move there. There we go. They're really happy with it, and a lot of the reason that I'll stick with the Canon line is two-purpose. First of all, their color science is just immaculate. Nothing wrong with Sony. It's a great platform, but primarily going to be for video only, and a lot of times with churches and things like that, they're going to need photo as well. And Canon will have you covered there with a great photography camera and video all in one. But if you've got higher budget, there's a couple of other bodies that actually do really well. And if 2700 was a sticker shock, then you might want to go down to something like the streamer 4Ks, like what is it, the M50 or some things like that, that actually do really well. I heard him eating grass there. Combination of a custom soundtrack and then animals making noise will get you every time. But the 4K camera that I film on for weddings and even short films that I keep in stock in my arsenal is the 1DX Mark II. They now have the 1DX3, but I haven't needed, there hasn't been a huge reason to upgrade to it just yet for the price and all that. But the 1DX Mark II is a $5,000 to $6,000 body. But I do it professionally, and it pays for itself on a regular basis. So you'd have to know, you know, what's the use, and, you know, budget's a big deal, I know. But definitely, when you guys get ready, feel free to reach out. I'm not a master of all the different models out there, but I'd be happy to talk to you as a friend for sure. Now, I will tell you this, if you don't mind, if it's going to be only a film camera, not for still, then the Blackmagic 6K, I actually literally am about to start editing on a feature that we did with that body, and it was amazing. Now, you have to take into account that you're going to need some, on anything, you're going to need good glass. And that can get expensive too. And you don't want to go on cheap glass if you can avoid it. You know, you want to do the best you can to have good lenses. Without good lenses, you're going to end up into a world of hurt, because even though it's 4K, if the glass can't pick it up properly, you're just going to feel frustrated. So, wow, camera roll is a whole nother animal. Yeah, it is. Again, once you know what your budget is, then you know what the client is wanting to get from it, the you know, the finished look. Boy, this guy's a real joker, isn't he? But once you know what the requirements are of the finished film, as well as what your goals are with the films, then it will help you know quality requirements and what's going to be necessary. And then when you're dealing, when you're dealing with budget, then you have to be able to say to the client, okay, I understand your budget limits. I understand you're wanting to do X with your media, but your budget isn't necessarily lining up with what your wants are, and you have to kind of figure that out with the client, because sometimes they've got really big dreams but very small pocketbooks, and that's okay, but you have to help them navigate that. And what I always tell everybody is always do with what you have, and then as you get more budget, then do more. But a lot of people won't do anything because they're like, well, we can't afford X, and so we'll just not do. No, to be honest, if they can afford to have the new iPhone 13 Pro Max, if they could have someone on the staff that had that alone with a good DJI Osmo is a beast. And I just did that again while talking. But the camera on it alone is a beast. I just upgraded mine to that and did some testing last weekend, and I'm just rather impressed. Rather impressed for sure. Now, is it going to do some of the things that a DSLR that's proper can, or like for instance that Blackmagic? No, it's going to be missing some of that, but for the average routine use, you might not ever even notice. Do you have any idea on how to correctly import files from iPhone to PC? I've been trying to do that for a while. I usually just take it directly into, you know, I have it stored in my iCloud, and then I just usually drag and drop right into either the timeline or import from that. But I actually, when I'm doing that on the iPhone, I actually have it save it in a proper file format that's easy to transfer. So check your settings on the file formats. That may be what has been acting up for you. I don't know. Another thing that you can do is you can use a different app than just the standard iPhone video app. So for instance, Filmic Pro is one of the top standards for doing that, and you can save it in all different types of formats at that point. And it will save it into whatever cloud folder you want to use it. Now I'm getting close to all this trees. I get worried about creepers. Okay, I've recorded myself repadding and repasting 39er and wanted to make some content out of it. Okay, so that sounds cool. What's the plan then? Whole clip was 2 hours long. So what's the trouble you're having? Is it just because of the file size? Just have trouble exporting it to desktop when I hook the phone up via USB-C to the motherboard rear. See, I've never done it that way. I always have all of my files in the cloud. So it's either iCloud or Dropbox or something similar. So I'm not sure connecting like that. It takes a little bit of time, but if you plan well, you can have it, you know, upload to your iCloud or any of that overnight, and then, you know, the next day you'd have access to that. Like sleepy time. Yep, I can hear them growling too. Yeah, try that. You know, try that exporting that you're talking about, and then also try you know, using a cloud-based export as opposed to being directly hooked up. See if that helps. It may be timing out. Make sure that your phone doesn't have any go to sleep or lock the screen or any of that kind of stuff, you know. Leave the phone plugged in, but leave it unlocked. And, you know, no screensaver, none of that stuff, if you're going to do it that way. Okay, so we're just about out of this stack of blocks, and then I can run the slabs. Let's see here. It could be AMD issues. Try getting imported to the cloud. Yeah, I can't imagine why a processor would be the problem, but stranger things have happened, I guess. I think since I have the RTX on, I'm just gonna stop there before I go into all the dark area. I'll finish that area later when got the standard pack on without, so I can avoid the dark issues. So let's. Did I tell you that I moved from Intel to AMD? I think I saw that on one of your posts. I do try to keep up with everybody as much as possible when I have time. But yes, I did know that. What was your deciding factor? 'Cause both are solid. You just, I'm curious what your needs were that created that. So it was strictly because of motherboard choice then? Is that what you're saying? Ah, got it. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Happy that I have a small desktop now. Yeah, sometimes that can make a big difference, that's for sure. Let's see here, do I have any? No, I don't, but I could make some so I don't have to get back up and down off of here. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. If you have a chance to get things functioning the way that you want, it sure is nice. I forgot that it was this far back since I had done the dark oak edges here. I'm glad we're coming back to do some of this then. Also had drives that I bought when I first built the mid tower that were 4.0, okay. Working with Intel that didn't support it, so it was just refining. Oh, got it. Yeah, so you had mismatched pieces and all of that. Understood. It happens. Sometimes the technology is awesome and it's great and it just doesn't keep up quite with where we all want it to be doing all the time. And staying with it can be challenging. I goofed that one up. That's funny. There we go. So this corner will make for a kind of a funky corner, which is okay. Had to do that for this weird shaped ground because I wanted to stay with the ground. I didn't want to change it. No sweat. just going to leave that. Okay, well, I don't see myself changing my setup anymore too much. Too much work hunting. Got to settle down. Yeah, that's always a tough thing. And in technology, you just have to make up your mind at some point and go with it. There's not always a perfect anything. It's whatever's perfect for you that you have to kind of settle on and then be happy. So let's see here. It's easier to start up top. So here, I saw the opportunity to upgrade to the 3090. Wow, for no cost. That's huge. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, that's funny. A lot of people have had to do that, and I feel for them. I've just been blessed to have, I guess, getting in at just the right time. That's not right. Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I've been building machines since the early 90s, and it just never is exactly what you want. You just have to kind of get into a groove and get happy. Just when you think that back then it was you could get a little bit closer to what you wanted, because technology wasn't moving quite as fast, but even then it was still tough a lot of times. How did I miss that? There we go. Okay, so I saw that in Premiere the VRAM usage optimized differently with 3090. Huh, okay. I didn't have any comparison, so let's see here. 3080 almost always use the entire 10 gigabytes doing any task. Huh, so they've got a much more efficient chip. That's interesting. It's good to know. It may also be the way that Adobe connects with those different types of chips too, because they do their design to match with things and pair up with certain builds. Okay, it's getting nighttime and I don't have anywhere to sleep. Doesn't look like anybody else is sleeping either, so that's not good. Let's see here, I could jump up on here. Now there's rumors that a 3090 Ti, well, you knew that would always come at some point. There's always somebody that wants to have a higher immense power usage. Yeah, 450. Yeah, you're probably right. Because of what I do for a living, I was a lot more prepared. All I had to do was just switch my GTX 1080 out with the new card. But a lot of people are already maxing their systems out when they buy it. I already had power, space, and everything left over. So I purposely bought something knowing that it would probably be outdated soon. So what field of study are you thinking about? I know as a freshman you've still got a lot of time to decide everything, but biology. So what kind of a path are you thinking? I think I'm just going to keep this, like it was built onto the wall, but still has a little bit. I think I kind of like that. Yeah. Medical professional path, taking the MCAT early as I can. Okay, yeah, nice. So you're not going to do anything that's just hard then, huh? Totally kidding. Well, the best thing to realize, and I think you do, you and I have talked on this stuff before, but you don't have to have everything figured out. You do need to have a plan, but it doesn't have to be completely figured out. It just takes, you know, as you go through the plan, you refine it and sharpen it as you test out new things, and you're like, oh, I love this. Ooh, did not like that. And eventually you'll find that spot that really hits you. And you'll be like, okay, that's the sweet spot. That's the place. And what a cool thing, like you just said, to not have debt with your undergrad. That is a huge, huge thing, especially in this time of our history of our country, for sure. So I definitely don't mean to leave everyone else out of the conversation. If you had something that you wanted to chat on, I'm totally cool. If not, definitely don't. I just don't want you to feel like you were missing from that. Yasung and I have known each other for a while. So your work fortunately will pay for my final 4 credits. That is on federal loan, so I should be all right at the end. That is huge. Good for you, man. Thinking about joining the U.S. Army after undergrad. Ah, that's not a bad choice, actually. If you can handle the rigors of that, which I'm sure you can, you're very disciplined. Having all of that paid for, especially with the uncertain future of being able to pay things off and all that, that's not a bad idea. Sure helped with all of that. Let's see, I just need to do a ton more. Let's just put that in there for now. Yeah, I remember you talking about your dad. You're fortunate to have him involved in your life because he really cares, and it seems like he has some good wisdom a lot. Well, that's really cool. Yeah. And I think having a photo like that too would probably mean a lot to him. I know when I get to share anything with my kids, it's a privilege. It's very cool. What a neat privilege that is when two of you look at that throughout your lives. You'll appreciate it more. That's going to need one more. There we go. I'll just leave it. Looked like it was eroded. I don't want to take out this. Oh, I guess I could do it with Silk Touch. I always, when I switch from normal to here, I forget sometimes. There we go. I'm going to need to take out some of these anyway. once I am done. Do I just not have the space for it? That's what it is. It's like, what is going on? There we go. So how's the, sorry, I got focused there for a moment. So how's the family going on for you? You didn't share too much, my friend. I enjoy people's stories. That's always been a big part of my life, is just hearing people's things and what they're doing. It's just always cool to me. Family's good. You know, the world isn't necessarily good, but we're learning how to be good on our own, and so we're doing well, all things considered. And some of the things that I had wanted to be doing right now, not really getting to, just because of just the way life works. One of our companies that I've owned had to shutter just because there's no revenue coming and no hope of revenue coming from it for a while. So it's just life. Was it a great thing that I wanted to be doing? No, but is it necessary? Yeah. And so we'll adjust and keep trucking. But my daughter's made it to college and having a ball there, just like you, really enjoying the process. And my son's now a fitness business owner and personal trainer, and loving all that goes along with that, which has been really fun to watch and to see him grow in that and be good at it too. Like, he's got a real gift for not only his own physique but helping others. So it's neat. But I dare not complain, because I know everybody's having just crazy stress right now with this whole state of the world and whether money's coming in or not and all that. So just figure out what we can each day and keep trucking. It is sleepy bedtime. Do we have somewhere I can? I don't know. That's not good. Here we go. This is... Yeah, it's not just because we're in New Mexico. That does play to it, just because it's a smaller place. But I'll tell you, one of the coolest things about being here throughout all this was we didn't have to deal with a lot of the drama that some of the larger areas did. We've got a nice, quaint community that just gets it, and really helped, everybody through it. And that's a really cool thing. Having a community that you can rely on in life, there's a lot to be said for that. Learning to find those places sometimes isn't easy, but it sure is awesome when you do. Yeah, I've been blessed. to still have work. I know there's so many that weren't able to do that, and the cool thing is, a feature that we did last year, I just got a message from the main writer-director that she just secured distribution for it. So we had picked up a decent amount of wins on the festival circuit over the past year, a year and a half actually. And we had just shot this next one and about to start editing on it. And then I've also got my first major online video course on how to get over yourself and not live life selfishly, and it's been doing real well. So we're about to even do some heavier marketing with that, and so excited to see it grow. And then obviously being able to do something like gaming and have people that appreciate what we're doing, it's me, what I'm doing in my design and developing packs and playing Minecraft has been a special thing too. So finally learned a trick to doing these quick stairs like this is to start up high and then work your way down. It's much easier. The first couple of attempts just did not do what I wanted them to do. I like this growth in here, so let's try to work around it. More underneath here. There we go. Luckily nobody here has been affected by the world right now, taking advantage of the trucker shortage right now, and we are doing very well. Yeah. No, that's certain industries. It has just been fortunate, like you said, and I'm glad that your family's been able to be in an industry like that. So we may just leave that. Yeah, I think so. I really like the way that tree growth goes. There we go. So we'll start up top here again. It's a lot of hard work, but it pays off very well. Yeah. Well, you fortunately come from a hard-working family, and that helps you with what you're doing in life too. Anything worth having just requires a lot of work, and that's okay. You know, learning to be patient on the outcome of things is an important feature in life. And sometimes you have to work really hard before you get the things that you're wanting, and that's all right. You know, enjoy the journey. We still got a nice group playing tonight too. That's neat. When I heard that the U.S. Army officer offers scholarships for med students, it gave me a new purpose of achieving something. Oh yeah, nice way to put it. Okay, when I get done with this last set of dark oak stairs, I think I'm going to need to call it an evening and go to bed. This has been a lot of fun though tonight, and I'm hoping to do this a little bit more regularly now. We've got certain things a little more straightened out in life. See here, you sung, I honestly felt like I didn't know what I was doing till I heard about all that. Always wanted to do something in the way your dad did, and now that's cool. That's really cool, man. I love that. Missed that one. Just right. There we go. You feel like you should get back into server multiplayer. Yeah, you may have way too much going on, and I totally get that, my friend. That's what I had to do, was just get real serious about what I couldn't do. Because I had a lot running for a while too, and I hated not being in here, but I needed to stay on top of real life stuff too. So there'll be a right time. Right time to get back into playing and goofing when it's right. A season for all things in life. can make this work or not. Okay. Okay, I think I may need to log out. So, I think that will be my stopping point. I know it was closer to the last of those blocks, but with it going dark and I didn't have a place to sleep and a pillager patrol right there, I'm just going to take that as an indication to be done streaming tonight. So, those of you that stayed all the way or joined later are still here, thank you so much. Those watching later, really appreciate the views and the follows and the things in there. If there's certain things that you enjoy and that you notice in my streams that mean a lot to you, let me know. It helps me know what we're doing and doing well. But if you're interested in the packs, obviously go over to my Patreon. You can pick up all of the packs and different resolutions for the same monthly subscription, and so as I release new ones, you'll be the first to know about those as well. So anyway, I wish everybody a good evening, and we'll look forward to seeing each other again soon. Have a good night.